I am presenting here part 2 of the 3-part sessions I have created to know the important quality terminologies for everybody. This is not meant for quality department alone. This knowledge is important for everybody in the organization if the organization has to be quality focused, and this is the requirement that is actually tested by the global customers if they wish to do business with a particular organization. Hi, this is Jagdish Kumar R, Master Black Belts Six Sigma, Certified Manager for Quality and Organizational Excellence, and Certified Reliability Engineer from ASQ, and Lead Auditor from ISO 9001 doing this presentation. Now let us understand some important terminologies commonly used but slightly misunderstood. Quality control. Actions to maintain and improve the quality of product or service is called as quality control. Now what do we mean by here? Actions to maintain. Actions to maintain means I inspect the items, I pass only the items that meet the requirement, so that I am maintaining the level of quality as far as the customer is concerned. Then what do I do? If the items are not passing in the inspection or they are short of quality requirements, I'll improve by repairing them. Again, I'll do the re-inspection and forward it for customer dispatch. This is called as quality control, which is reactive in nature, because I have done the item already. Now I am checking whether it is good or bad. If it is bad, I am improving it to the required level. This is called as quality control, which is reactive. Now, there is another word, quality assurance. Quality assurance is a set of actions we do in the organization to solve a quality problem proactively and prevent the root causes of failures. This is proactive in nature. For example, we make a process checklist. What is the benefit of a checklist? We do not miss anything, we do not duplicate anything. So this is a proactive action so that things happen as they are expected to happen, including the quality parameters. This is quality assurance, proactive action. As you can see, the quality assurance is a bigger set whose subset is actually quality control, because output of quality control, where we encountered quality issues and had to do the repair, I can do the root cause analysis and bring out with the improvement actions which can get into my process or system through quality assurance, so that these problems do not repeat at all in the future batches of production or in the future batches of my services. Now, just to compare QC versus QA, please refer this sketch. QC is more product oriented or output oriented, whereas quality assurance is input oriented. That is, it looks more on process. QC is reactive as we discussed, QA is proactive. Also, you find that the QC is done as a line function. There is an inspection department that does. But if quality assurance precautions and preventive measures are taken, it is applicable to everybody, not just the quality assurance. Even the production will implement them through their SOPs. That's why it is a staff function, QA. Whereas QC is looking at defects, where QA looks at preventing defects in the future. It might have happened now because I would have taken the QC output as my input for quality assurance. Now I have taken a permanent action and problems do not repeat at all. So QA is on preventing the defects and proactive. Now, what is quality management? Application of plan, do, check, act approach for quality. Many people during the interview, when we suddenly ask them, you want to become the manager, now you tell me what is management, they fumble. American Society for Quality expects that people should at least answer that your management is all about planning with a goal, now how you should do and how you will do in the future. Implement all the plan, that is do. You will get the output. Check it for fulfilling your requirement or goal. If not, come out with corrective actions. Again, you plan to implement them, and then PDCA continues. So application of PDCA approach for quality is called as quality management in simple words. Now, also please remember, quality management has predominantly three major elements. They are quality control, which again is a subset of actually quality assurance. So quality control, quality assurance, quality improvement, because quality improvement is a journey. What is good today is no more good tomorrow, because your competitor would have come out with a better product. So quality is a journey, they say. So quality management is a bigger set comprising of quality control, quality assurance, and quality improvement efforts, which are continual efforts. Now, many people have difficulty in understanding what is quality management system. Many people are surprised, or they express their viewpoint that standards like ISO 9001 are not work instructions to improve the product's quality. Then what are they? They are the collection of best practices from the great companies across the world to see that if you implement the requirements in full, your entire system improves. Now let us understand in small portions. Quality is fulfilling customers' requirement continuously. Management is an application of plan, do, check, act to improve quality and sustain. System is what? System is a collection of all the functional processes in an organization. Many a times if you are not happy with a company or an organization, we say the system in that organization is not good. What do we mean by system? System is collection of all the functional processes. Functions are dependent on the organization. For example, if my company doesn't do any design, I don't have a design function, and so on. Now, what are the functions? Generally, organizations have HR function, finance function, then design function, manufacturing, procurement, inspection or testing, quality assurance, customer support, and so on. These are managed through their own processes, and also their processes have interactions with the other processes. For example, if HR process is good, I'll get good engineer, I'll get better designs, better products in my company, and so on. So they have interrelationships also, functional processes. Now, these functional processes with their interactions put together is called as a system. Now, what happens if you are managing the system quality and improving the system quality? As the entire system improves in an organization, all the processes improve. If all the processes improve, all the causes are improved. If all the causes are good, obviously the results will be excellent. That organization becomes an excellent organization. That is where the value addition is from ISO 9001. There are many companies which have benefited by implementing ISO 9001 and enhanced their profitability. Basically, because of the focus on standardization, focus on risk management, and overall system improvement that the organization is going to see by implementing the requirements of these standards. So, moving forward, you please remember, quality management system has a quality assurance as its subsystem, which again has quality control as its subsystem. So quality system is a mega set affecting the entire organization, affecting all the functions of the organization as far as quality improvement is concerned. So a company deciding to go for ISO 9001 certification will prepare a quality manual of its own, customizing the standards into their company's working requirements, and this document, which is quality manual implemented across the company, is a best example of implementing a quality management system. Now I'll come to sampling now. What is population in sampling? The entire group on which you want to draw a conclusion. Suppose you want to purchase a bag of rice. Then you cannot check every grain of rice. What you do? You take a small portion which is called as a sample, as you see in the picture, isn't it? And As given here, a sample is a small portion of population you take out, inspect, test or examine, but you take decision now on the entire population. There is a small risk element, but that is manageable. So we understood that sample is a small portion you take out from population, you check the sample, then you decide on the entire population. Please remember this. What is sampling? Sampling is the process of selecting the sample, and there is one important point to remember in a sampling, that your sampling should be random. It should not be done on systematical basis or from one area and so on. For example, as we discussed, if you want the sample size take to check the quality of bag of rice, I should not take from the top alone. I may have to take from bottom or side at different places and then check. Now what did I do? I did the random sampling. Many people are not able to answer this during the interviews. Please remember this, sample should be random. Random sampling is a must. Then only it will represent all the qualities or non-qualities of the population. Now, this also is an important point from interview point of view or knowledge point of view. Sampling is mandatory for descriptive tests. This is a picture that clearly shows the samples are selected. 5 persons were selected for interview, but they were not selected from one location. They were selected from various locations. Random sampling, as we discussed. Now, we will come to another very important terminology called lean. There was an interesting research. Many global leading companies formed a small group, and then they discussed, we will identify how much of value adding work we are doing, how much of non-value adding work we are doing in our organizations. So one company audited or visited the other companies for independence, and they found, as they compiled the outcome, 60 to 70% of the jobs done in global leading companies were found to be non-value adding. So in general companies it could be much higher, maybe 80% of the work organization does may be non-value adding. So it's a great problem but a great opportunity, because the opportunity is the flip side of the problem. So people worked on it and found great advantage. They tremendously improved the productivity, even they doubled the productivity. So this is the crux of lean. There is a concept called Lean Six Sigma, which I will explain later. Now what is lean? Identification of wastes. What are the wastes? I will give a list as I move forward. Identifying waste, which is the most difficult task. Eliminating the waste, not stopping there, continuously improving. Remove further and further waste and look for perfection. This is all about lean. Lean has 4 aspects: identifying waste, eliminating waste, continuous improvement by identifying more waste and eliminating them, and then aiming at perfection. Now let us understand what are the ways to look for. Transport, unnecessary transport I do. For example, I hired a vehicle which was not in good condition. I was transporting the material, it broke down somewhere in the middle. Now I had to transfer the item into a new truck, hired, and then shift it to the subcontractor's location. Say this is an unnecessary wasted money. Customer will not pay. Inventory, excess inventory is a waste. Many organizations have this problem of excess inventory. And imagine the inventory of shelf life items. After the shelf life items becomes purely waste. So in unnecessary inventory is also a waste. Unnecessary motion, in the sense, I had a case where we were using 8 types of screws to assemble one particular assembly on the table of the operator. We discussed, then we removed the various 8 types of screws. We replaced them with one screw, and look at the comfort. Now only one screw to maintain as inventory, one screwdriver for the operator to use, and quick assembly, rather than spending huge amount of time having confusion about right screw being taken out of 8 types and then wrong screw being inserted and damaging the thread, and so on. Unnecessary motion happens on the operator's table. Waiting, maybe for instruction, maybe for material, or maybe for customers instruction, and so on. Any waiting is a waste because time is money in business. You should try to minimize them. Overproduction is a waste. You produce an item because people are idle, it's called as production for stake, and then item may become non-saleable because by that time technology would have changed, the requirement in the market would have changed, then it becomes a huge waste. Over processing is a waste. We do more processes than required. I had an example in one company where the company standard says you dip the clean part to be cleaned in 3 tanks of acid and then rinse and so on. We found that finally for a particular product, I would say, I'm not talking about the standard being correct or not, standard would be definitely tested and required for the entire company. In my case, one dip helped and did adequate job as far as customers requirement was concerned. So I went for only 1 dip instead of 3 dips. Now I have removed my over processing as far as my product is concerned. Defects are waste. Either if they become scrap, the entire money is gone. Even if you repair, defect repair is not going to be compensated by the customer. Now how to remember these 7 waste is, there is a word called teamwood. This is globally used common word, teamwood. Transport, inventory, motion, waiting, overproduction, overprocessing, defects, and unused talent is the 8th waste that is happening in the organizations. People's talent decides the destiny of the company. Talented people can create great contribution to the company, and this is where the companies should work, in my opinion. These are the 8 ways for your understanding. A picture is given because a picture is worth 1,000 words. It is easy for you to remember. If you know what are the ways, it is easy for you to go and implement lean by identifying them, eliminating them, and continuously improving, looking at the perfection. Now we'll come to ISO standards. The standard released by International Organization for Standardization is actually ISO standard. It's in Geneva, Switzerland. Why iOS has been reworded as ISO? There are 2 benefits. I have seen global customers don't call it as ISO. They call it as ISO. So ISO means easy to pronounce, ISO standard. If a foreign customer talks to you and asks about ISO, that means he's talking about ISO standard. Also, you would have heard about isosceles triangle where 2 sides are equal. Here, if I have an ISO certification, that means my quality practices in the organization is comparable and equivalent or meeting the requirements of the global expectation of ISO standard. So this is also another meaning of ISO as I understood. Now, the process when you actually check the output. I'll give a simple example. I'm making say 10 ohm resistor, and even a small industry manufactures say 1 lakh resistor a day. There are 1 lakh resistors manufactured. Do you expect or do you think all the 1 lakh resistors will exactly measure 10 ohms? No. They'll vary slightly here and there, upper side or lower side of 10 ohms. Why this is happening? This is happening because every process has a random variation within the process which is inherent to the process, and that is forcing the output to follow a bell curve or the normal curve rather than all the items having the same constant value which is my target say of 10 ohms. Hope that is roughly understood. I will explain this in detail as I move forward in future topics. So the variations inherent to the process is called as random cause. This cannot be easily removed. This is covered by the tolerance. For example, 10 ohm plus or minus 0.5 ohm tolerance is given. Means I can go up to 10.5 and accept less than that, or I can go up to 9.5, more than that I can accept. So there is a tolerance. Tolerance is the one that addresses the random cause, which is inevitable because it is inherent in the process. Whereas assignable cause. These multiple words, please remember, especially those who are writing American Society for Quality exams for certifications, or it useful for interviews. Assignable causes, which are also called as special causes or also called as systematic causes, are not tolerated, because you can recognize now these causes now result in huge variation in the output, going beyond 10.5, going less than 9.5, which become obviously defects. So they cause huge variations, and they are not tolerable because they are not inherent to the process. They are due to external reasons or reasons for which you can assign a reason, assignable cause, assign a reason, root cause, and do the corrective action and eliminate them. So what is not tolerated in a process? Assignable causes are not tolerated. What is inevitable? Random cause. How it is addressed? Tolerance. What is the consequence? The output follows a bell curve or a normal curve and not a vertical line. That means all the items will never measure the same reading, say 10 ohms, as I discussed in my example. Now, here you see how to see whether there is an assignable cause or a special cause. Plot the control chart. This I will explain in detail in the future topic. Just understand. And if the points or the output measured is falling behind the or outside the control limit, that means there is an assignable cause. You have to analyze. You will get the root cause, and they can come out with a corrective action to prevent that happening in the future. Now, safety. Why I am talking about safety in quality? Please remember, safety is part of quality. Legal compliance is also part of quality. So what is safety? Safety is absence of any hazard or undesirable event. Now I'll talk about SQC. We saw the control chart in the previous diagram. Here also SQC is also about control chart, but let us try to understand SQC and SPC together. Okay. Statistical quality control is a plot, say a control chart, done after you manufacture the product and after you measure the output. That means the product parameter, say the critical parameter, and then you plot. You manufacture the product, you measure the critical parameter where you have the risk to achieve, and then plot it on a chart that is called as a control chart. You see that all the measured output should be within the upper control limit and the lower control limit. I will explain these fundamentals later. If not, there is an assignable cause for which you have to do the root cause analysis and come out with corrective action. Now, what is SPC? See at the bottom. Statistical process control monitors process in real time. Means as the process is progressing, you do not wait for the output to happen and then go to inspection department and do the SQC. You pull out the item on the on the production table itself, measure that critical parameter. If it is found within the control limit, you plot and you allow the production to continuously happen. This is proactive in one way. That is why now people talk about SPC more than SQC. SQC is after the event where the damage has happened, whereas SPC is proactively you see and ensure as the process is happening that the process parameters you have set is delivering the correct required output parameter. Now I will come to slightly a higher level subject, please bear with me. Hypothesis. Many people who know quality topics also know what is hypothesis. I will try to explain this in very simple terms because I have seen my students telling me that hypothesis looks like a pain for us to master and do well in the certification exams or implement in the projects, especially the Six Sigma projects. Now, in hypothesis means assumption, isn't it? Hypothesis, we do two assumptions which are conflicting. For example, one, I say that there is no significant improvement after I do a particular project. Alternate hypothesis says that there is significant improvement. Now please remember, any one will be proved right, not both. Either there will not be a significant improvement, that means null hypothesis is proved right, or there is significant improvement, that means alternate hypothesis is proved right. That's why they are conflicting assumptions. So two conflicting assumptions are made about a parameter which you want to improve in your production or in your service. This is hypothesis. Please remember, hypothesis and hypothesis testing is your friend, it is not your enemy. For example, null hypothesis can be compared in a lighter way to your boss or to your customer who says improvement is not enough, do more, do more. How much more you will do? So you find that you cannot do it more and anymore. So then there is a clash or there is a standoff. So in such a case, what can come to your help to convince the customer, to convince the management is only hypothesis test. Please think hypothesis test as your friend. Now, what is hypothesis test? You do statistical inference by using statistical tools to draw conclusion about the entire population. Means if the population is after improvement, whether there is a significant difference between the earlier population without improvement and the population now with the improvement that you have done through your improvement project. As I told, in hypothesis test, any one will be proved right. Either null hypothesis, if that is the case, there is no significant improvement, you may have to do further actions. If alternate hypothesis is proved right, you can prove to the entire world that you have done an excellent job and now the project is to be closed and the benefit to be realized and accepted by the management, accepted by the customer also. Now I'll come to SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Standard Operating Procedure is in different forms. It can be in statements, then it is called as work instruction, or it can be in the form of flow chart. What is the benefit of standard operating procedure? Irrespective of the people, irrespective of the time, irrespective of the consequences or external environment, you do the job consistently in the same way. There is consistency in output. This is the benefit of a standard operating procedure. As I told, standard operating procedures can be in the statements form, then it becomes work instruction, or it can be in the flowchart form, which is generally followed in standard companies. It is a graphical representation of the work to be done. As you can see, the rectangles here mean the operations or your process steps. The diamond means the inspection or verification, whether to accept, whether to reject, and so on. This is a flow chart which I will explain in detail as I move forward. Now, I'll come to risk. Risk is what? Undesirable event likely to happen. Now, identifying the causes of risk and its potential impact is called as risk analysis. There are two words which people get confused about. One is risk analysis, one is risk evaluation. Identifying what is the cause for a risk and then how bad that risk is risk analysis, not risk evaluation. Now, comparing the seriousness of the risk in relation to other risks and prioritizing for improvement, and after the improvement demonstrating that the seriousness of the risk has come down drastically. This is called as risk evaluation. Risk evaluation can be done prior to improvement for selecting the high value adding risk to improve, and after the improvement to demonstrate the risk is being totally controlled. Please remember the difference between risk analysis and risk evaluation. There are 4 approaches to managing risk. Risk management itself I will cover as a session as requested by the subscribers. There are 4 approaches to risk. You have to do these 4 approaches in the same order. Avoid the risk, transfer the risk, mitigate the risk, accept or suffer. What do you mean by avoid? For example, if hands work is creating inconsistency, I'll go for a machine work which gives consistent output. So I have avoided inconsistency. What is transfer? For example, I do asset insurance and anything happening to the organization's asset, we claim insurance. This is transfer. Now, mitigate. Every risk, top management sometimes has the tendency to say, are you mitigating, are you mitigating? Every risk should not be gone for mitigating approach straight away. Avoid transfer. If it doesn't work, go for mitigate. What is mitigate? There's a proverb, when you want to eat an elephant, slice them into bite-sized pieces. Here also risk is split in mitigation into two categories: the likelihood of occurrence of the risk, that's called probability, and seriousness of the risk, which is called as impact. So we either reduce the probability or reduce the impact. Very rarely we may have to reduce both. So this is called mitigate. Then accept the risk if it is too small and doesn't make sense to spend money on handling that risk, because risk management can be expensive. Small risks you accept. Risks which you cannot handle at all, you have to suffer. There is no choice, like tsunami or earthquake, whatever example we can take. There are four approaches to handle the risk. Now, many people have this confusion. What is a quality plan and what is a qualification plan? Often customer keeps asking both. Quality plan is not as elaborate as qualification plan. And the objective of quality plan is how you will achieve the quality. You are making the product, say for example, for the first time, you should demonstrate to customer how you are achieving the quality in your product through a document saying that these are the things I ensure, these are the things I inspect, and so on. In future, quality plan may have to be submitted to the customer before the customer gives you go ahead. This becomes a precondition in many of the global companies as a best practice. Okay. So how you will achieve the quality of the product in future, you give a document giving assurance to customer is a quality plan. Now what is qualification plan? A document procedure which is elaborate, which confirms goodness of the product. Goodness of the product confirmation you have done through quality plan, isn't it? As well as the process. So qualification plan has quality plan also as its a subset. Objective of qualification plan, which is more detailed than quality plan, is to confirm efficacy of both product quality as well as the process quality. Please remember this difference. Unless quality plan and qualification plans are submitted, many global companies will not give a go ahead for you to manufacture their products. Now, we will come to an interesting subject, audit or quality audit. What is an audit? Audit is a structured process because you select one standard, according to that standard requirement you do the audit. It may be ISO 9001, ISO 14001, AS 9100, TS standard, whatever. It's a structured process where what you need to check, how you need to check is very clear. Periodic process. The audits are planned once in 6 months, once in 3 months in some places, or once in a year and so on. It's a periodic process, especially the quality audits. I would like to remove one misconception among the people. As you do the internal audit, every area need not be audited at the same frequency. You need not have your entire organization audited once in 6 months. ISO gives a flexibility. If there are critical areas where you will have huge risk, you can conduct internal audit and assessment every 3 months also. So the frequency can vary from one section to another section within the organization also. Please remember this. This has been one learning that I had in my long career. It's a periodic process to identify the extent of conformance to standard. Many auditors have a likelihood that they go like policemen and then start finding out you have not fulfilled this, you have not met this, and so on. It is not the policing that is the audit. You go and see the extent of implementation. In the process, you may get some non-conformances which you will bring out. So objective is not to find non-conformance alone. It is to find good and bad both. In one way, start with the good. In the process, you may find something to be improved that you bring out as a audit points or non-conformances. This is very clearly to be known by the people who should have good knowledge of a quality audit. Now, there is one word, big Q. Big Q is strategic level quality or total quality management, which I will cover separately in detail. Now, total quality management is handling all the functional processes of the organizations and their interfaces in a smooth, seamless way, meanwhile ensuring the quality. Now, implementation of ISO standard is contributing to big Q. Small Q is at operational level, at department level, at production level, say how I ensure quality. But quality is everywhere. So small Q is at lower level, big Q is at higher level. But both should be integrated with one another. Otherwise, the organization will have a disconnect and will have very difficult, I would say, the methods, or for very difficult scenario for them to handle the disjoints. Now, TQM, it's a strategic organization level quality management. As I told, management is PDCA to quality, and total quality means by everybody from lowest person to highest person in every area, all the departments. That's the meaning of total. I'll explain this in detail in a future session. These are the elements of total quality management. I will take this session as a separate session. Now, people use the word green channel nowadays, especially in the advanced companies. What is green channel? Generally, what happens, if I am the supplier, I make the product, I inspect, deliver to my customer. Customer will do his own inward inspection, and then if found good, he will take it to production. Why this additional action by supplier, which is a waste? Now, that is why they have started with green channel. Customer has now confidence in supplier's quality. If a green channel certification is given by customer to my product, that means as regards to that product, customer has confidence in my quality, and he directly uses such product into his production without any IG inspection and wastage of resource from his end. Because inspection only segregates good and bad, it does not improve quality. That is avoidable at customer's place. He has a huge benefit. So this concept is now talked more in global companies and even in Indian companies also. Please understand this. What is green channel? I am supplying the item to my customer. Customer has all confidence in my product. He does not do his inward good inspection. He straight away takes it for his production. It's a great advantage for the customer company. Defect analysis. There are two approaches generally. One is a standard structured approach called 8D approach. I'll take this in separate session, and root cause analysis. There is, unless you do root cause analysis either by 8D approach or by another method where we do a cause and effect diagram, then do the Pareto analysis, or use our knowledge to find out valid causes. These valid causes, you find ways to prevent them. That is corrective action further. So this I will explain in another section in full detail. This is a 8D approach which has originated from overseas and now very popular in India also. I request you to kindly subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon for any future notifications of my releases. I will do several releases. And please press the thumbs up if you have liked this simple presentation. I am bringing the third part next to it, not to make it too heavy in one go. As I told, quality is a journey, not a destination. There should be continuous quality focus by everybody in the organization if the organization has to do well in the business. I thank you for all your support and request continued support. Thank you so much.